Hey guys, it's Laura. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you our chicken coop and give you a little bit of a walkthrough and tell you also what I would change if I built this again. We built this a few years ago and I have lost all of that video footage, so at least I wanted to give you guys a quick walkthrough. The chicken coop is 4 feet by 8 feet. I really did that just to make it easier for wood cutting. It's a 2x4 frame covered in plywood that's been stained to withstand the water and waterproofed. There's a little bit of 1x material on the doors just to frame things out. At the bottom of the coop, all the way around, we have concrete pavers that are set so that the wood does not touch the grass directly. And this is covered by hardware cloth that has been screwed in. It's also bent down and goes into the grass by about a foot. This is to prevent small animals from digging under, so you can't even see it anymore, but it's down here inside the grass that's now grown over. All of the wood structure is sitting on top of the concrete pavers all the way around the entire coop. At the top of the coop and anywhere that has any kind of opening, we put hardware cloth. This is running all the way up to the roof line as well as on the front and back and sides. It starts about 4 feet up, and this is one of the things that I would change next time around. I would actually start it a little higher because it's really cold in the winter and rain goes in there quite a bit. So we end up covering this with a tarp just to keep everybody nice and warm in the winter. On one side of the coop, we just have a blank flat wall that runs the entire length of the coop. On the other side, we have our nesting box door. This is framed with a piece of plywood and 1x4, and this is so we can get the eggs from the outside. The nesting box has a simple handle and latch that you just turn to open up the door, and you can access the nesting boxes. This is one of the things I would also change. We made it a little tight here, and so it does swell when we have a lot of rain and it gets a little sticky, but otherwise it's a great door. The main door is made of 1x6. This was leftover wood that we just put together as the door, framed out with 1x4. Has a handle and a lock so that we can keep the chickens in and everything else out. And we did make this door high enough so that we could easily enter while standing. On both sides of the coop we have a tether. This holds the chicken coop in place and it's designed to withstand high winds. We've never had any issue. The chicken coop has never moved and we've had it here for about 2 years. Inside the coop on one side we have our nesting boxes. This is 4 Rubbermaid containers from the dollar store that I just cut a hole in the front. They are on a little ledge at the bottom, and the top ones have been reinforced with wood so that they don't bend or fall. Of course, anyone with chickens knows that they always are preferential and lay in the same nesting box all the time. This is theirs. The bottom 2 nesting boxes can also be accessed from the outside door. On the front of the coop, there are 2 door entrances. One to the side that they're on currently, as you can see, and the other is to our garden area. The reason we did 2 is so that at the end of the gardening season, we can let them out the other side and they will go ahead and eat all the garden leftovers. And then we will switch our garden to the right side next year that they have spent this entire year fertilizing. On the left-hand side, there's 2 roosting poles. These are just regular 2x4s. In the middle of the coop, we have the food and the water hanging from the rafters. They are attached with a cable and an eye hook. And the food is a standard food container that you can find anywhere. The water is in a 3-gallon bucket, and we got some commercially available watering nipples for the chickens, and it's worked out well without spilling too much water. We use the deep litter method for keeping our chicken coop clean. That means we add shavings to it every so often and mix things around. It kind of creates its own compost, and we'll clean it out about twice a year in the spring and in the fall, and it really doesn't smell much at all. The inside framing is about 2 feet on center for the most part, except on that back wall. And the hardware cloth, as I mentioned, starts 4 feet up and goes around the entire coop, anywhere that there was a gap, just to keep small animals out, including around the roof line. Speaking of the roof, this is a normal plastic corrugated roof, and it's one of the few things that I would change. As you can see on the side here, the drop is about 2.5 feet, and I would make that much, much, much less. Because what we have is in the winter, the snow will come down the roof and it pretty much piles up right in front of these doors and it creates a little bit of a mess. Here on the front of the coop, you can see the 2 doors. One is to one side, and then we have a fence running through to the middle, and then the other side where our garden is right now is shut. These are just regular plywood doors framed out with 1x4 material, and both have a latch. When you open them up, they form the stairs that help the chickens get in and out. This is one of the things I would have changed next time around. I would make these much smaller. They don't need this big of a doorway, and these are pretty heavy. On both sides of the garden, I have a gate that I made out of old PVC pipes. This was custom made according to the dimensions. It's held on by bungee cords onto the fence post, and then it also has a latch to keep it shut, and we put some chicken wire all over the gate. Lastly, I made a chicken shade. This is because it's super hot here and our chickens really need somewhere to cool off that's protected. So this is a frame that's very similar to the DIY chicken run that I made out of PVC pipes, and this time we just put a tarp over the top, attached it with some cable ties, and also made it angle down so that when it rains, all the rainwater will run off the chicken shade. Guys, thanks for watching the tour of our chicken coop. We have 7 chickens. They love it here. We probably could fit 2 or 3 more. And our chicken run and our chicken shade. The girls love it here. And they love rolling around in the dirt and eating the weeds that we throw across from the garden. So we will see you guys on another video. Bye guys. Speaking of the roof, this is a normal corrugated plastic roof. Ow, don't bite me.